What is going on, and welcome back to another money saving gear hack. And in this video we're actually going to be expanding the name of the series to money saving gear hacks and tips and tricks of the trade. There's been a lot of things and concepts and tricks and things that I've seen recently with a lot of guys that have been recommended to post on YouTube for everybody else that have been more on the tips and tricks side of the equation when it comes to setting up gear and addressing problem sets when it comes to things guys have experienced out in the field and operational environments. So I felt, hey, with that, instead of having two different playlists, I'm going to just consolidate everything into one, so that way you guys have a consolidated list of recommendations when it comes to money saving gear hacks and things you can do to save money, as well as tips and tricks for the actual trade, whether it's law enforcement, military, or you're just trying to be prepared for any given situation. So with that, in this video, we're going to specifically be talking about setting up Peltors or adapting Peltors to be more than just a communications piece of equipment, but also to be a piece of equipment that can illuminate an area or a small area for administrative use as well as medical use. Now, all you're going to need for this is your Peltors or MSA headset, whatever headset you're running that has a microphone on it, some electrical tape, some cutters, and then your Night Eyes Radiant Micro Lights. Now these are going to come in a couple of different colors. You have white, green, blue, and red. I would recommend only sticking with blue and red. Red is going to be for administrative purposes. Blue is going to be for medical use. Now the reason for that, blue is going to highlight blood. It almost makes blood look black under a blue light. So it's going to be really easy to identify where a bleed is and stop that bleed as fast as possible when it's dark out or if you're in a poorly lit environment. Red is going to be for administrative because it's going to keep that low light signature. Blue light will absolutely have a high light signature, but with something this small, it really does reduce it a lot. And this is an alternative to running something like a Princeton Tech Charge Pro or Charge, whether you want the AA or 123 version, as well as the Surefire HL1 lights that are out there that you can run on arc rails and on your helmet. So if you don't want to spend as much money for a setup like that, where you're going to spend a couple of $100 for your whole setup on your helmet, this is an alternative, and it's only going to cost you maybe like 20 bucks at most, or $30. So with that, I'm going to dive right into how you set this guy up. So when it comes to these lights, they're going to have this kind of little keychain setup like you can see here. I would recommend cutting portions of this off so that way it's going to fit a lot tighter and snug to your Peltor microphone. But with that, it's going to be entirely up to you. I know guys that just run this entire thing as is, and I know guys that run this to where it is a little bit modified. So if you want to be able to take this off and use it as a keychain later on after you get out of the military or a law enforcement position and you don't have Peltors anymore, by all means, but I'll show you how to cut this right now when it comes to that aspect of it. So pretty much there's going to be two cuts that you're going to make, and you're actually going to flip the thing inside out so that way you have the ability to use it. So you're going to make a cut right here, as you can see. Sorry if these guys are going to be a little old. I don't know if they're going to cut this, so I may have to cut the video out and then come back. But if you don't have cutters, by all means, you can go out and you can purchase or use your multi-tool, which may actually be the better option for this guy. So these guys are a little old, so I'm going to go get my multi-tool, cut this, and then come back and show you how to cut it. All right, so multi-tool, better tool for all of this, plus you're going to need it anyways when it comes to kind of crimping or squishing some of this stuff back together. So what you're going to do, you pull this guy out so that way it opens up. If I had the cutters, it would have worked a little bit easier, but they didn't want to cooperate. So with that, you're going to get right in there, right at that kind of curved point on the on this clip right here. You're going to cut it right there. Much better. I actually bent them, but there we go. So you're going to cut that right there. And then later on, you'll bend that back into place, and then you're going to cut right here on the loop Or if you want, you can actually just leave that loop, flip this guy around. If it'll let me. There we go. You can actually flip this all the way around and then just pinch this. So whether you want to use this side or not, it's just a matter of flipping it out or in. You can actually just do that right there. Like so. And then cut off this other side. It's entirely up to you. I know guys that have used both ways. Get that to cut. Ooh, that was violent. Use iPro. Anyways, so there you have it. You have your Night Eyes micro light with your modified little hinge and tape down point. Make sure all of that is nice and tight so that way this doesn't come undone on you. Plus you're going to be taping this down so you don't really have to worry about that coming undone. So first thing, I would take a small piece of tape. I kind of have it already pre-cut right here. And you're just going to help tape all of this down so that way that does not come undone on you for any given reason. Like so. Keep it nice and tight. And then I would take that electrical tape and run it the rest of the way down and then cover up those sharp points. Like so. There you have it. Simple as that. And then from here, you're going to take this, find your flat side. If you want to take your little wind cover off, by all means you can. I would recommend just leaving it on there just because it helps with keeping the wind out of your microphone, or pop filter, I guess you could call it. And then you're going to take some additional electrical tape. Get everything nice and flush. That way this whole thing kind of sets up nicely. And I like to go just a little bit over on the actual light itself. So that way I know that this whole system is going to stay in place. And then this light doesn't actually like articulate back and forth on the on your Peltor microphone. So get it to that point and then take a long piece and just secure everything in place. Make sure that your microphone arm is nice and straight so that way you get good contact and it's nice and secure. It is as simple as that. Now this is like the cheap and easy way of doing it. If you want this to look really, really clean, by all means you're gonna take a little bit more time, get some heat shrink, make sure that everything is nice and tight. Use that heat shrink to secure everything to itself so then that way you know nothing is gonna move on you. But it is simple as that. So that way, when you have all of this set up, you hit that light when you're working on a casualty, like this blue light that I have here. You have high, low, and then you have a strobe, and then off. So you have settings with that, but it will give you the ability to work with casualties. And then that red light is going to be for your administrative purposes and keeping that low signature. So if you don't want to spend a lot of money and set up a helmet, this is definitely a alternative and kind of a gear hack and tip and trick of the trade. So that way you can set up your equipment to be adapted to a lot of different given situations and scenarios. So with that, if you have any questions, please feel free, leave a comment, like, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.